Here 3 Slotcar manual rewinding rigs. They are in fact all the same, just configured differently by changing the way they're laid out. This has a cradle for rewinding DC armatures. This has a cradle for rewinding BLDCs, brushless, and this is also brushless but configured for a left-handed person because I'm a lefty. What we have is a wire dispensing reel. Just got no wire in it at the moment because trying to dispense from 3 industrial spools or 2 if you're doing 2 wires is going to be troublesome. This is locked in place by this pin, and we have a hand wheel, a friction wheel, an anti-friction wheel, and a friction plate again. And how tight this is depends on how hard it's going to turn. Take the locking pin out and we can turn it, but this guarantees that the friction wheel against the counting wheel always wins. So we can pull off, in that case, say 6 turns, and then when we wind 6 turns, you can't miscount. And if you back up again, you recover the count. And one of the troubles of rewinding is often you have to untie your wind, you want to go backwards and forwards and you lose count. You don't want that to happen. The brushless mounting shank is held by a detent pin, so you can index from place to place. This long stand is keyed to this so it retains its position. We have 4 pins up here to wind around. The height is just to give you some length of wire. In an OEM it's just a short piece and then they have a lead wire. I don't see the point. Just make these a little longer and you can use those as your lead wires. There are 4 pins, 1 for each of the phase wires and an extra one for neutral if you star wind. And the wind I'm going to do just now will be a star wind. In addition, you can do half winds. They do exist. And then this goes in at the bottom. So you have an additional pin or 2 at the bottom. You only need 1. And that's when you put the neutral or star point on the opposite side of the wind. So you can then wind 3.5 or 4.5 turns. You can't wind half turns in delta. First thing we have to change is to take the cradle off, locked in place by that. I'm doing this so I can get the bobbin off. The bobbin can now screw on upstairs. There we go. And we can wind the wire on. Don't have to worry about the counting. That doesn't necessarily move, that can just stay jammed and we can carry on winding. So it's quite happy to do that. So first things first, wind the spool. Okay, I'm going to be rewinding a Palmer 1105 6500K, which has 6 turns wound in star, double wound. It's got 2 parallel wires. And you can see why you want to load a bobbin rather than try and work with those 2 monsters of wire. So we'll preload the bobbin. I reckon it needs about 1.7 meters for the job. I need about 400 mil for the extra for the height of the mast, and I'm going to put on 2.5 meters just to be sure, because you don't want to end up short. But you can see why you want to use the bobbin, because you don't want to try to do this job with these dirty great industrial reels of wire. So there we are, wound up, ready to start. Just twist the ends together a bit. Don't want to lose track of where the winding is. Okay, now I've got it properly clamped down as I should have had. It's a lot easier to use like that. Since this is a star wind, First, get started by wrapping it around the start point of neutral. Set the tape to 6 turns, and for that locking pin we're going to wind on 6 turns. Long fingernails often help here to push the thing in. Try and get the last wire turn near the middle, because otherwise you get in the way of everything else later. Better off using a plastic blade this is not to damage the wires. Well, there we are, 6 turns. So, that's the first coil done. Now, we pull this out and we back up this way. We miss 2 and find the position for that one. Lock it down, come around, and now here we go again. Pull the tape out and go to 6. So here we go again. Right, one more to go. Yeah. Oh. wind that one round with that pen. I should have really done these the other way around, but it doesn't matter. They get cut off anyway. It'll just be a bit more convenient. Okay. Now, future reference, how much oil was left over? Anyway.